Let's go live down to Mass General Hospital with the latest.
Well, there's some very severe ones, and obviously it's upsetting to see so many people come in so quickly with bad injuries like that.
We've been told 8 are now in critical condition, including some in very critical condition. Is that true?
That's correct. There have been 29 patients seen here total. 8 are in critical condition, and many of those are very seriously ill.
What kind of injuries are we talking about?
There's a variety of injuries. Probably the most common serious injuries are combined lower extremity injuries. Combined meaning bone injuries, soft tissue injuries, and vascular injuries to the lower extremities.
Can you please speak up? I'm sorry. Are you seeing something that shrapnel type injuries?
Yeah.
Can you describe what?
So we're seeing a lot of shrapnel injuries. Many of those involve, again, predominantly the lower extremities, but shrapnel injuries can affect the entire body. So we're seeing.
Doctor, please describe the scene when people were coming in, when patients were coming in. Could you describe that?
Well, the first patient who came in was probably the most severe. We had 3 of the most critically ill patients come in about the first 15 minutes. At that point, we didn't know if that did turn out to be the tip of the iceberg, if that was going to be the tip of a huge iceberg or not. I think actually everybody
has not been named a suspect. You are out, so people can take these in.
All right, you were listening to a live news conference tonight at Mass General Hospital. There are 8 hospitals in the Boston area treating a lot of folks tonight, about 141 people. 8 of the folks that they are treating at Mass General, 8 are critical. Let's go back to Boston.
Doctor, could you tell us how many patients you personally have treated? And I think we're all interested to hear, have any of them been able to communicate with you what they saw, what they witnessed, what they went through? Have they been in a condition to be able to speak with you?
A number of patients have been able to talk. Most of them, we've kept it business only, to be honest. So in terms of just what affects their clinical condition precisely. You probably know more than I do about what happened at the scene at this point. You had another question, I'm sorry.
Where in terms of how many you've been able to treat?
Well, the hospital has treated 29. I have operated on 6 so far today.
How many are still in?
Five patients were unidentified earlier. Have you identified all of the patients?
I don't know if we've identified everyone. I know that some of the patients who came in identified have now been identified.
How many remain in the hospital?
I don't know.
There have been a lot of questions about family members trying to reach their loved ones, any difficulty they may be having. Have you had any indication from the patients that you've seen if they've been able to reach their loved ones, their family members, if they've been able to find them at Mass General at least?
Some of them we have, some of them we haven't. Some who initially were unidentified, it took at least a couple hours. I know some of the patients that I personally treated, it took a couple of hours to find family. I don't know of the 29 total, or particularly the 11 who are in 8 who are in critical condition, if we've been able to reach everybody.
Were these runners or spectators?
Again, I'm not sure. I have not taken care of any runners, but of the 29 people, there certainly may have been some runners.
Can you talk about the shrapnel again?
Did you see? Was it anything unusual or anything in particular?
So no, there's a lot of small metal debris. Some people have asked already about whether these were BBs or they were parts of bombs, and I just don't think we're able to say whether these are small bits of metal that were placed there intentionally or whether they were just part of the environment that were involved in the blast.
Do you think the people who are in critical condition at this point, are things looking okay for them, or do you think?
Well, they're not looking okay because that's not what critical condition means, unfortunately. So, it's really too early to say how everybody is going to do.
How long will it take you? How long will this process continue with the 8 critical? Are we talking about hours, or are we talking about?
A number of patients will require repeat operations tomorrow and serial operations over the next couple of days. So as I mentioned, a lot of the injuries are combined. They're combined bony and soft tissue and vascular injuries, and they have to be approached oftentimes in kind of a stepwise fashion.
How about eardrums? Were you seeing any shattered eardrums? Were these people in very close proximity to the explosion?
Yeah, so we have seen at least one, which is not uncommon with blast injury. One of the things on the to-do list for tonight, for me and the residents, is actually to go right back around. It can be hard sometimes, particularly if people are being rushed to the operating room to get a good exam, and repeat all of those exams, because that's obviously something you don't want to miss.
More information, on ages, hometowns, where these.
No, I'm sorry, I can't actually. I just don't have that information. The hospital may be able to give it at a later date.
Can you talk about the amputees again? You've how many here at this hospital?
I can't tell you precisely right now. I mean, several.
All legs or
29
arms
Are
too?
all 29 still at the hospital now?
I don't know that.
And can you give us an age range? I mean, were there...
There were no pediatric patients, so here we define that as somebody under 18. So that's actually all I can tell you. The oldest patient that I took care of personally is 71. I think that's the oldest patient involved.
What was the most horrific thing you saw personally? What was the most difficult for you to... I mean, you're a surgeon, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it's just depressing that, we take care of accidents all the time. It's just depressing that it's intentional.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
The injuries are not otherworldly, but no, I can't say I've ever seen this volume of patients come this quickly with this type of injury.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by not otherworldly? Some of the initial reports we've heard are that it appears that these devices may have been IED-like or crude in nature, but you say the injury is not otherworldly. What do you mean? Can you explain?
Well, any traumatic amputation is it's a gruesome injury, but it's something that we
An ongoing news conference happening right now at Mass General Hospital, where 29 patients of the 141 are being treated. 3 people have died. One of those victims is an 8-year-old child.